Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to this YouTube video for you all. Um, Off the back of it being on the World of Warships website, I figured it would be a really nice thing for us to take a look at the Ochotnik. So, for those of you who don't know, the Ochotnik goes by a few other names, goes by the name of War Canoe, the Russian longboat, all kinds of things like that. She is a Tier 5 Russian destroyer, premium Russian destroyer, available in the game within the premium shop where she's been for quite some time. She's not a massive expense either, as you can see. Um, we're just going to find her for you here, and there you go, £8.44. She's actually one of the cheaper ships that's available, but I will say that in my humble little opinion, she's one of the most fun ships you can play. So in the game, her blurb actually states that she is a 1917 design of an original project for a unique large destroyer that was created in World War One to remedy the lack of modern cruisers in the Russian Navy. The ship's dimensions, which were too big for her type, allowed her to carry multiple guns and torpedo tubes. So during my research on this ship, and we are going into the history at the start here, guys, I found a couple of interesting things. Number one, in 1905, there actually was an Ochotnik class. They had two funnels. They had 2-pounder guns fore and aft, 6-pounders on the beam, three single torpedo tubes between the funnels and after the second tunnel. Um, you know, they actually made several of these. They were reasonable. The Ochotnik herself was sunk by a German mine. They survived in the Baltic. They were up armoured for World War Two. However, there's then a little bit of confusion in digging into the history of this. I'll leave a link to the website I found the information on. It's the Naval Encyclopedia. So it's like it's a pretty well known, well researched website, I believe, as well. Now they start by premising saying they were looking at a 2,500 ton destroyer, which was basically classed as a super destroyer by the Russians. It was inspired by the German S-113 class, and they were ordered from around 1916, 1917. And with the first order obviously being confirmed in October 1917, which does line up with the design aspects of our Ochotnik in game being 1917. Now, basically, it was based on an improved Gidmark 500 tonner, but obviously supersized massively. Um, but what I find interesting is within the article, it actually does reference World of Warships. It says, however, a World of Warships nice 3D rendition backed by alleged blueprints of which a drawing was derived seems to point out some sort of improved Novik with a very impressive artillery on the aft deck. Is it fact or fiction? Wargaming products are not known for historical accuracy, at least when it came to filling missing blanks in tiers, the game's playable ship lineages. Nothing we don't know already there. First off, the real 1905 ship was sunk by the first aerial torpedo in history, and her career is quite interesting enough. This alleged Ochotnik was launched as a Tier 5 premium, 2,100 tons and 130 meters long, armed with 130mm guns. They then released an official video in April 2017, as we know. Needless to say, though, there is no trace of her in the Bible of Warships, Conways, or Janes, and that should be enough to discount this fantasy, unless this paper ship is based on the 2,500 ton class super destroyer seen above. But in that case, it's more likely to pack a conventional artillery and torpedo tube arrangement. The rendition is historically interesting, with two major flaws. First, a ship of that size and with that much power showing only two funnels is way off the grid. 4 funnels as a previous Novik would have been more likely to avoid correct boiler exhaust and draft. Second, so many heavy guns on the rear deck would have been quite uneasy to handle in heavy weather. Training to have all these guns firing at the optimal position without interfering with each other was likely to be a nightmare. Light years from the capabilities of the notoriously undisciplined Red crews. So, again, quite a big shade being put on this ship actually even existing in this form in the game, but that's to be expected. And I do agree with a lot of what they're saying. They have looked at the Inland class from 1915, where they do have a similar rear deck layout, but you can see from the article, which will be linked below, you can see just how unstable and unsteady that class was as well. So, it's one of them. And, the final line is really telling. In the end, this Hornet remains a video game fantasy. And I think that's all we need to say about the history and anything to do with the Hornet. She is, the claims of it's based on a original project. The original project that I can relate this back to is a hodgepodge of the 2,500-ton super destroyer that they were looking to do, coupled with a few other different pictures of Gidmark classes and things like that, melded together, and ta-da! Here you go. This is the resulting ship. How is she in World of Warships? Okay, well, let's be fair. The reason we enjoy playing the Hornet is she is a giggle. She has very brutal 130mm guns. They have an awesome pack. They are an awesome punching weapon. A long reload for a destroyer, but at tier 5, there's very little can outgun in terms of sheer weight of shot on our Hornet in a destroyer match. When you've got all of these guns here, the 4 in the stern, the two forward, 7 guns. 5 astern. I apologise. And the 2 forward, 7 guns in total. They are slow to rotate with a rotation speed of 28.5 seconds from side to side. Her dispersion is minuscule at 78 meters though, and a 9.2 firing range. She doesn't have great range, but the AP is good enough to citadel most light cruisers that this ship will come across. The HE is good enough to inflict severe damage to any destroyer that you come across. With a very reduced freeboard that you see here, she's also, a little bit hard to hit. Her top speed of 36.2 knots isn't great, but it's not bad. However, her turning circle is 730 meters. There are battleships that can turn better than an Hornet destroyer, and she has a tendency, because of her long, narrow stature, to drift when you're cornering and turning. So you may think you're going to dodge those torpedoes because of the pivot and the drift. You're not always going to get away with it. And when you've only got 14,500 HP, it's a little bit close to the wire. You'll also notice as well, it has masses of torpedoes. It has 4 triple launchers mounted down the center ship here. That's 12 torpedoes you can fire. And don't think you've got to wait long for the reload, because they're 42.3 second reload in my config. 4.5 kilometer range isn't great. They're reasonably quick at 65 knots though. And coupled with having a larger hit pool at tier 5 than most of her compatriots, if you can surprise somebody in this, there's very few ships that you're not going to be able to just simply torp to the bottom of the sea very quickly. Obviously saturation and things like that will come into effect. Just bear that in mind. How have I got my Hornet set up? Well, my captain, as you can see on screen, is from the Dubsky. The other torpedo manic ship that in the Russian tech tree line at tier 3. We've got greased the gears, we've stacked the torpedo skills, we've gone with heavy AP, and then we've got our usual destroyer skills, last stand, concealment, extra HP and stuff like that. In terms of the equipment side of things, well, we do have pretty much a limited choice. Only 3 slots. So, main armor mod 1, engine room protection, because that is something you do want to keep up and running on the destroyer, and aiming system mod 1. And that's it. That's pretty much all there is for the Ochotnik. The game coming up, it's, I'll spoiler alert, it is a defeat. But the damage, I think, is pretty impressive to say, I think, and it's good enough reason for me to put it in for you. Hope you enjoy it. Catch you all soon, guys. Enjoy the replay. Something a little bit special, this replay. As you can see, we are joined by the one and only Rita Gamer herself. This is a true honour. We get to play with Rita. As you can see, we are in the War Canoe, the Ochotnik. Rita is in her Minakaze. Again, just for those of you who are interested in setting up your game, here is how it's done. And there we go. So, as you can see, we're on straight. A domination game with the ABC caps down the middle. Normal map that you will see at tier 5 here. I'm going to head into the middle of the map area here. I have HE loaded. The Ochotnik is not the best when it comes to turning, but when it comes to everything else, she's okay. So we're currently scanning the horizon for other ships. And we are heading down towards the B cap. Obviously, myself and Rita are in comms discussing this. And Rita is going to go and cap the A cap with her more stealthy Minakaze. Whereas I am going to take the Russian longboat and go for the Bravo cap in the middle. It also means that any light cruisers, anything that sometimes come and sniff around the middle, I've got the better armament to deal with that with the 130mm rifles that you find on the Ochotnik. So, we're heading down here. Nothing really too tasty seen at the minute. Rita is about to start skirting the cap. However, we do find the Monticello, the Mont Broccoli, as our beloved friend Grumbles would call it as well. We've got AP preloading. We're having a look over.
Engine boost activated.
I've decided to actually boost in closer to the Monticello to close the distance between me and him, so he has less time to react. We're looking at the corner here now. He's a little bit too angled for us for this. And he does actually run abroad, and I should be paying more attention because the Mitsuki has just been spotted and he's actually going to spot us. The Broccoli is backing up around the corner. I can't get shots, and it's at this point where we notice there's a Mitsuki. So we dump all our torpedoes as he's well within our range. Now, we've got torpedoes in front of us. We dodge, we dodge, we dodge. We hit our smoke. We bring it to a dead stop. We are still spotted, but unfortunately for the Mitsuki, I've got more torpedoes than he has. The Monticello is turning away. Our torpedoes are reloading pretty quickly. Shots out there at the Monticello, but all of our guns ricochet. We can't get our angles on it, but we do get spotted by the Iron Duke. The Monticello's turned in. Both have shot at us, and luckily we've already started to pull forward. AP's loaded with those beautiful broadside shots there, but he is now a little bit more angled. However, shouldn't be too much of a problem. 3 penetrations, very nice there. Rita has successfully capped the cap, and the Mont Broccoli has disappeared. We do get one final nice salvo into him. Now, it is a puffing smoke, so him stopping there is not the best of ideas. We fire one more set. No joy. The Iron Duke is slowly edging forward, and there is a Königsberg coming as well to sandwich us here. So, we're holding our torpedoes because we know if I release them, like this, unfortunately, there's very little chance that he's going to be able to dodge all of those torpedoes. He's taken some from Rita. I've now come out of the smoke. So the Iron Duke isn't going to eat all of them, but he's going to eat enough. There we go. He's got a flood. He hasn't sunk though. I've not noticed this at the minute. There we go. We got 6 citadels. Did we get there? 3 citadels on the Nurburg. I'm backing up because I want to get some more torps onto the Iron Duke while he's in range and while he's running slowly. The Moncello is coming back. Rita's got torpedoes that are going in, and Rita does indeed take out the Iron Duke. I'm sailing away, but I'm trying to get shots over into the Mont Broccoli, which I do manage to do there. A penetration takes out one of his guns. He's again come to a dead stop, and it looks like he's going to start reversing. However, his angle isn't great for us to shoot at. We're looking at the Königsberg here, who is backing and turning. So we want to wait just a little bit longer. However, the opportunity is there. It does only give us 5 ricochets, but he's now in a much more favourable position for us to shoot. And another 2 citadels.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
We stop and drop the smoke screen.
Generator started.
Rita is currently still out scouting in her more stealthy ship. We get another 2 citadels on the Moncello there. The 130mm guns on the Ohotnik are just really, really nice. Another 2 pens and 2 overpens.
Smoke screen set.
At this point he's turning away. So we've preloaded HE, we've sent the shots out. As you can see, the ricochet angles aren't great for this ship. We're now on our HE, and we're just trying to chip down as much damage as we can do. But he's getting close to being out of our range, so we do switch to the Congo actually. So we blast out of the smoke. There's the torpedoes from the Moncello. Now there's a kamikaze yar somewhere, and we're not spotted, so we don't know where that kamikaze yar is. We're now spotted because we're open water gunboating. I've left the HE loaded, and we're just going to continue to shoot. Hammy's been spotted north by the Emerald in the October Revolution. Fire on the Congo, nice. Which is burning, but he's extinguished it pretty quickly. Remember guys, I'm not a perfect example of it, but try to police putting out just a single fire. Remember, you can actually make sure that your single fires, you can repair a single fires with a damage. It's not an issue in your battleships. The Congo though is in a very dangerous position now, because at some point that's going to run out and he's going to have to burn a repair to try and get through a further permanent fire, which it looks like he's on currently. We're now going to push towards the B cap, because it's at this point I kind of noticed that we're a little bit short of players down here. We've got a nice lead on points, and we're obviously nicely building that up as we go. However, just a little bit shy on the old defense down here. There's just a poor little New York on his own. The Kirov is somehow stuck. The Omaha and the New York are... Well, the New York unfortunately is sank. He tried to defend as much as he could do, but when he's 5 versus 1, it's always going to end unfortunately for him. The Omaha is sailing away, but I make a decision that actually, you know what, I'm going to try and nick the Sea Cat from underneath the noses. It's not going to be easy because of the detection range, but I think it's going to be a little bit interesting. The Kamikaze Yar is beautifully sailed on the other team, gets a devastating strike on our October, and Rita is currently up there engaging with him. Our Omaha's giving us some really nice support. Unfortunately, his shells aren't landing on their Omaha as well as we would like, but he's turned in, he's heading towards me. So when he spots me, I stop, I smoke. I have been spotted, but once the smoke kicks in, I'm okay. We've got our AP loaded though, which means once we get that broadside, which unfortunately manages to turn, it is an emerald though, so I mean, we don't have to worry too much, do we? Well, for now we don't. As you can see, multiple ricochets though, but it's enough of a hit to actually count as a decap. Oh, torpedo coming in. Oh, just managed to get away with that. We've got a fire and 5 penetrations there. So now we are on our own with a 44-second smoke stream against a New York, a Texas, a Koenig, and an Omaha. Well, we've been in stickier situations. The Texas has been spotted. We've got HE loaded. He's not going to come into our torpedo range, unfortunately, and we don't really have the health to deal with him. But we've got a fire on him. We're currently not in anybody's spotting range. He's put the fire out on the Texas. We've got a nice comfortable lead. Unfortunately, the Kamikaze R is doing absolutely great work up there. Rita's managed to take out the Moncello with the torpedoes. But the Congo has taken out our Omaha, so this game is far from over. And they do have a ship advantage on us on this one. So Rita there comes in chat, letting the Koenig know, I'm going to give you smoke, please don't worry. I've got AP loaded. We've been spotted by the Omaha, however, we get a great connection on the Omaha with 4 citadels. And before he knows what's hit him, he's been hot-nicked. The longboat has claimed its 3rd victim for this game. Our boost is over. We've got no smokes. This isn't looking too promising for us. There's a New Mexico somewhere. There's a New York, a Texas, a Koenig somewhere, a Mikoyan somewhere, a Koenig and a Kami. But we are hanging on to these 2 caps for grim death. Unfortunately, we've lost Rita at this point. We have been spotted by the Texas, so we need to GTFO very quickly. We now unspotted, but we don't know where the Koenig is or the New York. Finally, our New York manages to burn the Congo down. We can see shots being fired, which means that somebody is there. We've got AP loaded, and we're looking for shots on the Mikoyan. Obviously, shots fired. 2 citadels, that nets us our Confederate. Can we get a reload? Unfortunately not. We launch every torpedo we've got towards the Koenig there, and we turn away, hopefully to try and survive. Oh, we're in a bit of a bad crossfire here. Our torps are going to miss, unfortunately, from the Koenig, and we get taken out. But 109,000 damage. We wait to see, do we get any more with the torps? Unfortunately, we don't get anything more with the torps. But let's have a look at those post-game results and see, did we manage to pull a win out of this game? So, shame about the ending for that video. You know, devastating strike with Confederate, 13 citadels. 109,249 damage. You know, you can't say we didn't give it a college try, and it was lovely, lovely, lovely to be able to play in some games there with obviously Rita as well. Great fun playing in games with Rita. She's a big giggle. 1340 base XP would have put us a good fourth overall in the entire game, so we went down swinging. But there you go. That's what your Hotnik can do. You can have a great game in it and a lot of fun. Should you spend the £8.44 on buying it, or whatever your local denomination is? Yeah, why not? It's a giggle. It's not a lot of money, and you'll get hours of fun out of it. She is a bit of a unique playstyle, and I would say that before you spend the money, get yourself a tier 3 derp ski and have a bomb about in that and see how you enjoy that. If you enjoy the derp ski, you'll enjoy the Ohotnik, I think. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you ever so much for sticking with it. If you have, please leave a comment and give it a thumbs up, and obviously help us get to 1,000 subscribers. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Ta-da!